Have you ever looked at your savings and just felt that goal of becoming a millionaire is, well, impossibly far away? It feels like this giant mountain you have to climb from the very bottom. But what if I told you the math behind it works in a way that is completely counterintuitive? So let me ask you this. If you manage to save up, let's say, 100 grand, what percentage of the way to a million are you? 10%, right? I mean, simple math. Well, that's what our linear thinking brains tell us. And it turns out our brains are kind of wrong on this one. Because hitting this number, this first huge milestone, is a much, much bigger deal than most people realize. It's actually the critical turning point in your entire financial life. Yeah, you heard me right. 1/3 of the way, saving up your first $100,000 means you are mathematically 1/3 of the way to becoming a millionaire. Now, I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but stick with me because it is 100% true. Okay, so let's get into this surprising financial truth. How on earth is this possible? And no, it's not some kind of trick or financial sleight of hand. It all comes down to a fundamental principle of investing that's been quietly making people rich for a very long time. It really boils down to this. This isn't about some hot new stock tip or a get-rich-quick scheme. We're talking about basic, predictable math that's been proven time and time again. And once you really understand it, the whole journey to financial freedom starts to look completely different. So why does this feel so weird and counterintuitive? Well, it's because of the myth of linear growth. See, we're all hardwired to think in straight lines. We think, I save $1, I'm $1 closer to my goal. And you know what? That's the exact mindset that causes so many people to give up on investing right before the magic happens. Think about it like this. Linear growth is just a slog. It's like climbing a never-ending ladder, one boring step at a time. It feels slow, it's discouraging. But here's the secret. Real wealth isn't built on a ladder. It's built on an escalator. An escalator that speeds up the higher you go. That's exponential growth. And the engine that powers this whole thing? It's all about this incredible force of nature called compound interest. It's the simple idea that your investment returns start to earn their own returns. It's like a tiny snowball at the top of a hill. At first, it's small, it's barely moving, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow, gets bigger, and moves faster until it becomes a massive, unstoppable avalanche of money. Okay, so how does this actually play out in real life? Well, the whole journey really breaks down into a few key phases. And we've got to start with phase 1, which is, let's be honest, the hardest part. So let's run the numbers. Imagine you invest a steady $100 every single week, and you get an average annual return of 8%, which, by the way, is pretty conservative for the stock market long term. To get to that first $100,000, it's going to take you about 12 years. Yep, 12 years of just grinding it out, being consistent, and staying disciplined. But here's what's so important to understand about this first phase. When you look at where that first 100 grand came from, you did most of the work. About $62,000 of it came straight out of your pocket, from your contributions. The growth from your investments, that's only about $38,000. You're doing all the heavy lifting. And this right here is the danger zone. This is where most people look at their progress after years of work and think, this is taking forever. It's not working. They get discouraged and they give up. But what they don't realize is they've just spent 12 years building the launch pad. The rocket is about to take off. Because as soon as you cross that $100,000 line, everything changes. You've officially entered phase 2, the acceleration. Your little financial snowball is now big enough to really start rolling on its own. Okay, check this out. From year 0 to year 12, it took you 12 whole years to save that first $100,000. So how long do you think it takes to get the next 100,000? Just 6 more years. That's it. By year 18, you're at 200K. You literally cut the time it takes to make that money in half. That is wild. I mean, I gotta say that again because it's the whole point. 12 years for the first 100K and only 6 years for the second. That is the power of compounding starting to flex its muscles. Your money is now working so much harder than you are. And by the time you hit that $200,000 mark, the game has completely flipped. Now, when you look at the breakdown, your investment growth is sitting at $106,000. It has officially overtaken the money you put in. Compounding isn't just a helper anymore. It's now the star of the show. And from this point on, you cruise into the final, most exciting phase, the compounding takeover. This is where things get truly incredible and your own contributions start to look tiny compared to what your money is doing all by itself. So, fast forward to year 36 when you finally hit that $1 million goal. Get this, more than 80% of your total net worth came from compound growth, not from your savings. Just look at the difference here. That small bar, that's all the money you personally invested over 36 years, about $187,000. And that giant bar next to it, that's the other $813,000 that your money earned for you. It's just a mind-blowing difference. And let's put that in real-world terms for a second. At this point, your portfolio is spitting out roughly $80,000 a year in passive income. Remember how it took you 12 years of grinding to save up your first $100,000? Well, now you're earning almost that much every single year while you sleep. Okay, I know what you're thinking, but what about inflation? Well, that 8% return we're using, it's already a conservative number that accounts for it. The historical stock market average is actually higher. Okay, but what about market crashes? For someone investing consistently over the long haul, crashes are actually a good thing. It means your weekly investment is buying up assets on sale, which just turbocharges your growth later on. So here's the real takeaway. Hitting that first $100,000 isn't just about the money, it's a psychological victory. It's the proof you need to see with your own eyes that this system actually works. It's the moment that the goal of becoming a millionaire stops being a distant dream and starts feeling like an inevitable destination. So your path forward is actually pretty simple. Not always easy, but simple. First, you just have to start investing consistently. It doesn't matter how small. Second, you have to grit your teeth and survive that first, hardest part without giving up. And third, you just have to step back and let the incredible power of compounding do all the heavy lifting for you. Because at the end of the day, the math is the math. It doesn't lie. Time and compound interest are two of the most powerful forces in the financial universe. So the only real question is, are you going to put them to work for you? Your future self is waiting.